How to be a perfect teammate in duo Fortnite. I posted a community forum in my Discord where you guys were able to send in questions, and today I'm going to be answering all your questions on how to be a better duo. If you want your questions featured in the next one, join up in the Discord down in the description. And without further ado, let's hop into it. First question of the day is from me, Krills. He said, so I'm a fragger and I'm struggling to find refreshes in endgame. He's always with his IGL looking back zone under the tarps and stuff, but isn't really finding those refreshes, so he's wondering what he's doing wrong. It's good that you're sticking with your IGL and looking back edge zone, but there's lots of places to look for refreshes. Here's kind of a general checklist on how I try to find my refreshes. Looking back edge zone is one way. That's if we don't really need too much of a mat refresh. But I'll also be looking at other people who are tarping around us, trying to see if any of them get cracked or if they're building in wood. Those are good pushes to make. If you ever see a team above you getting sprayed from, let's say, high ground, you could try to spray their bottoms and create a box underneath them. The main things you're trying to look for are either people with no builds on back edge zone, that's free kills, or people that are either healing, building in wood, or getting sprayed at by another team. The main thing is, if you're going for a play on somebody who's in a full tarp, you want to make sure they're distracted with healing, fighting someone else, getting sprayed at, something like that so you can catch them off guard. And if you're going for a play on somebody in a tarp, just call your IGL over. The only time you don't want to do this is if you're back edge zone or in a bad spot with people all around you. That's my general advice on how to find refreshes. Someone asked if I have any tips for playing with a random duo from Discord, like how would I set up the roles and stuff like that. Honestly, I would just do like an hour-long session before the tourney that you're playing with them. Just figure out who's going to be IGLing and who's going to be fragging, but the thing is, you guys got to be working together, playing together. Even though you set up these roles of IGL and Fragger, that doesn't mean that you can't help each other out in doing each other's roles. So if you see a good route for your IGL, but you're the Fragger, you can either tell them like left is free, right is free, high ground's free, stuff like that to help them IGL. And if you're the IGL and you see a free cutoff play on front edge of zone, you can call your Fragger over and be like, I have free kills, we have a cutoff, stuff like that. But getting those basic roles figured out at the start of the tourney is a good way to make the process easier. And that really just comes down to who prefers what, who has more experience IGLing and who has more experience fragging. You guys can talk that over and figure it out. Lightning was wondering, how do you get your duo to listen when you're IGL or stay close with you? The Fragger should usually try to stay within like 3 boxes of the IGL. But when you're IGL and you're about to do like a really tough rotate that you think you need to be really close together, call your duo over before you start it. You gotta be like, stick close to me, this is a sketch rotate, stick close, stuff like that. Or we're about to rotate, get to me. It's really about clear comms and saying it twice, and then giving them a few seconds to get to you. Work on controlling your comms, making it more calm and clear, and you and your Fragger should be able to play pretty together. The way you communicate is everything when it comes to chemistry. Vex was wondering what to do if both you and your duo are IGLs and Fraggers. Can this make each other more controlling on what plays to make, like having big egos, not listening to each other? And I've had this conversation with teammates before, because pretty much everyone I've played with is an IGL and a Fragger. They have experience as both. Really what it comes down to is putting all your trust in your teammate. This has to be both ways. If your teammate says they see something and says to follow them, you listen and you follow. If your teammate ever says, no, don't fight this team, we're on back edge of zone, you listen and you follow. If you have full trust, then having 2 IGL type players is probably the best situation, because then you have 2 experienced pair of eyes that know how to find a good lair, know how to lead, and you can kind of work together 2 IGL to the best positions. And if you're both fraggers, you're both good fighters, so it's just the perfect combo. The biggest thing is putting all your trust in your teammate and dropping your ego. That's the biggest thing. Josiah was wondering how to get better in the mid game, having better comms, sticking together and stuff like that. How can they get better chemistry in the mid game? I've said this in other videos, but my biggest advice in mid game is play for your teammate. If you're in a fight and you're getting aggressive and you're making a play to finish the fight, make sure you do it optimally, or make sure your teammate is there with you. If you just jump in 50-50 without your teammate, then you're just screwing over yourself and your teammate. Yeah, you gotta calm stuff like damage, hype plays, if you're healing, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you can minimize the amount of chances you give your enemy to kill you by like avoiding 50-50s, you're gonna win a lot more mid-game fights. But the best way to get better chemistry with this type of stuff is just running either duo arena or doing 2v2 realistics in creative, because those are the 2 places that you can get mid-game fighting practice. So Axel was wondering, how did I meet Ken Beans? Basically, he was just a fanboy sliding in my DMs. that's pretty much it. Kudo was wondering if I think that your duo should be around your age, and age doesn't really matter. All that really matters is that you guys vibe and you guys get along. If you're 23 like me playing with somebody who's maybe 13, like it might be kind of hard to get on the same wavelength, but you're never gonna find out until you actually run games with them and test it. He also asked if his teammate is the fragger, should he drop him the better loot and heals? I think all you really gotta do is make sure that he has guns that he's comfortable with. Like if you have a prime and he has a lever and he thinks he's gonna do better with the prime, give that to the fragger, because he's gonna be the one that's doing the majority of getting refreshes and stuff. Somebody asked if off spawn, is it better to land together or try and claim as much loot as possible and spread out? Pretty much it's better to stick together if you're at a heavily contested area, but if you know that you're safe, you know that you're uncontested, then you want to spread out so you can get the loot path as fast as possible. But if there's ever any concern in your eyes that you think somebody's sneaking up, calm that you need to be looting together. And by that I mean like one building apart or in the same building. A lot of people are asking how do they find a good duo? So I personally think that when you're looking for a duo, unless if you're a top tier pro, you shouldn't go into the process of finding a duo with the mindset, I need to find somebody that's insane. You should simply go into the process looking to find somebody that's at your level with good vibes. A lot of people have trouble finding duos and sticking with duos because they always try to find somebody that's better than them. But if you just find somebody that's at your level, then you can work together for a long period of time to improve, gain PR together, and then if you decide to stop playing together, then you'll be able to find better teammates in the future. But if you keep looking for somebody that's better than you, you're at a much higher risk of getting dropped. Obviously, if you can find somebody that's better than you with good vibes, take it, but go into the process looking to just find somebody that's good vibes around your level. And to answer the question where, you want to be looking in Discord servers, whether it be a community Discord like mine, or going into scrim servers for your region, like an open scrim server. Or if you have a decent following on Twitter, you could look there. You could even find it in like a Twitch community. But typically the place you go is Discord servers. Someone said that they always see duos doing pre-edit plays, but what do you do when a pre-edit play is done to you? The biggest thing about defending against a pre-edit play is noticing that it's coming before it happens. Usually when somebody's nearby you and they start tarping straight towards your wall, they're doing a pre-edit. But what you can do is back up a box, set up a peek on them, and show them that you're aware that it's happening. If you make it obvious to the team that's doing the pre-edit that you're aware it's happening, they're usually going to back off. And if they don't back off, you can just win the fight from behind your right-hand peek. They might take that wall that you're doing a peek on, but by the time they get it, you should have a health advantage. But yeah, it's really about just noticing it's happening before it happens. If there's ever a team tarping like a box over from you or 2 boxes over, a lot of times they're going to tarp over to you and do a pre-edit play. Rao was asking about the new chrome ball rotates. He said he's playing Fragger and a lot of times like he'll get shot out and his IGL is moving forward without him and he'll get lobby focused. Basically the way I avoid this is I either stick as close to my IGL as possible while I'm in the chrome ball, like literally hugging him. I do this anytime we're rotating across like a large open area because in those types of situations, one of us is usually going to get shot out. But on the other side, if it's congested, there's a lot of stuff going on, usually you're not going to get shot out, so I'll stick a little bit back, that way I know exactly what path my IGL is taking. When it gets really congested, there's a lot of stuff happening and the IGL may need to jump over boxes, and if you're hugging right on him, that's going to be hard to follow. So in those types of situations, I stay a little bit back. When it's a wide open area and we're just going straight, I hug him like crazy. That's my advice. And if you ever do get shot out on one of those open rotates, just tell your IGL and be like, I got shot out, I need help, come back. Caleb was wondering, what is the ideal loadout? As Fragger, just carry whatever guns you feel most comfortable with and then 2 or 3 sets of heals. I'll usually carry 2 sets of heals and a sniper as a Fragger. And then IGL should carry 2 sets of heals, chrome splash, and then 2 guns. So I'm not even kidding, maybe the most common question was, should I drop my teammate? Let me just give you the criteria of when you should drop a teammate. First off, if you think you'll enjoy playing with somebody else, maybe the vibes aren't the best in your duo, and you think you'll just have more fun playing with somebody else, that's number 1. That's the biggest reason. Or if you think you're going to do so much better with another teammate, then maybe you could try playing with somebody else. Just make sure when you drop your teammate, you do it respectfully. You say, thanks for playing. I think I'm going to test out a new teammate in the future, in this next season or something. But I'd still definitely be down to run some games and stuff, like something like that, you know? But honestly, if you really enjoy playing with your teammate and you guys are really good friends, and you think maybe you'll still do better with somebody else, I would just stay with your teammate. It's pretty hard to find teammates that you really vibe with, so if you have one and you're not at like the tier 1 pro level, stick with that teammate until you get to the point where you can get a pro duo. That's my general advice. Obviously every situation is different, so you gotta decide on your own, but yeah. But on a positive note, the other most asked question is, what is the best way we can improve as a duo? My biggest advice if you don't know how to improve as a duo is watch back your games or think back to your games if you don't have a way to like VOD review. Try to figure out what you guys are struggling with the most. If it's communication, then you just gotta keep running scrims, keep playing end games, and when there's a moment where you didn't communicate very well, talk about it and try to figure out how you could communicate the things better in the future. Communication is one of the biggest things in duos, and the way you get better at it is just by picking it out one by one, fixing every single communication mistake, and then over time your communication will get better. It's just about fixing it one situation at a time. But then back to the VOD reviewing. Let's say your biggest weakness is mid game, then you can hop into 2v2s, arena, something to practice fighting. If your biggest weakness is end game and not getting lobby focus, stuff like that, then hop into scrims. If you choke your mechanics too much, then spend more time in your 1v1s and creative practice maps. VOD reviewing is the key to improving because that's how you figure out what you're struggling with and how to fix it. And if you don't know how to fix certain mistakes, then look up tutorials online. There were lots of other really good questions in this forum, but I just don't have time to answer them all today. If I didn't answer your question, feel free to drop by my stream, link in description, and if I'm playing arena or something, I'll be able to answer all your questions. The only time I can't is when I'm in tourneys, because I gotta focus up, you know? But I hope this video helped you guys out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.